Hey, I'm Dan Freeman, Video 360, AR Time Travel. Kind of started up my between the meetings things during COVID where we had a chance to talk to people. Now I want to start it back up again because I think there's still a lot of separation of folks and there's a lot of really interesting people out there. So I want to on the news cycle here. We're going to start with my buddy John Copeland. Known him for years. Really cool guy. A lot of stuff, a lot of interesting things. So we'll just do it. So hey, John, how you been?
Hey, I've been doing good, Dan. Great to see you.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this. I know you're familiar with what I've done before, and it's about the most relaxed chat. So just think of us as hanging out between two meetings.
That's perfect. Yeah, and that's a lot of times where I find myself these days is between here and there, trying to get from meeting to meeting and figuring out the best way to do that. And I think that's where you meet some of the most interesting people. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know that the the folks that are still out here, like I am or I've always been, remote. This is our opportunity to kind of our chat with our friends too. It's you work remote most of the time, so yeah, it's kind of cool to let people know who you are. So tell me a little bit what's up, John? What have you been up to?
yeah, started a new gig back in April with AVISPL over in the XTG, Experience Technology Group. I followed Julian Phillips over here. I've been following him for quite some time, and when I had the opportunity, I jumped at it. So really interesting times over here right now.
Cool. Work is work. You getting ready for the holidays and all that?
Yeah, definitely. Going to see some family this weekend and a little road trip and be back here in the Katy, Texas area for the holidays. I saw a chart the other day. It showed the chance of snow for Texas, and it showed the part of the state that wasn't going to get snow and the other part of the state that wasn't going to get snow. So that's what we have to look.
Yeah, you've been seeing the weather, I think, on national news about what we're getting up here. Pretty interesting. And I live in the rain shadow, so when they were getting inches of rain in Seattle and Western Washington, with amazing amounts. I think I did a calculation. They got 48 trillion pounds of water.
Well, yeah, and just nowhere to go, right? So
Yeah,
just
that's trillion pounds of water. So, and I got like a quarter of an inch.
saw something this morning. They showed a picture of where the flooding was, and the water had turned blood red. I have no idea what caused that, but I wanted to go back
All
and
the dead
investigate it a
bodies.
bit.
All the dead bodies. That's what it is.
Yeah, figured it was that or the tears of unicorns and rainbows, but something like
Yeah,
that.
well, actually, I think it was the tears of the Los Angeles Rams fans.
That was a great game. I had one of the players that ended up giving me about 50 points towards my total this week, so I was excited.
Yeah, you know, we have a nickname for the Seahawks and we have for years. It's the heart attack kids. They always win at the end. It seems like.
Yeah,
Very rarely do they jump off to a lead and hold it. If they do, they're going to kill them. But it's that's coming from behind like all the time. It seems like whether I'm right or wrong, that's the way it feels.
them and the Buffalo Bills. They both seem to have that mantra this year. But great to see them back, and I think they're gonna
Yeah, not cool.
be a fun postseason.
Yeah, hey, so it's interesting. You always see the backgrounds, people when we're not doing the fake backgrounds in our calls. So you got all this stuff behind you. And is that one of your books back there?
Across the back there. In fact, I'll just cut over here if you don't
Yeah.
mind. But I've got all five of the books that I published this year behind me there. And I when I started at AVISPL, my first week, I went to a retreat in San Diego, and Julian was there, and he gave us all a copy of his book, Leviathan, uh, written by him and Athena, his AI partner. and it really inspired me. So I started looking into it, and I think I went a little overboard. I got really caught up in the publishing process and how you could do this. And it's funny, 5 books there total probably of less than a couple of weeks worth of work. Um,
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
my AI assistant is Lexi, short for lexicon,
Hmm.
and just started giving her prompts to kind of help me with the structure and the outline and then some direction. And before you knew it, I had a book. And that's
Yeah,
kind of the
fills in the in between parts, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And but still maintained a lot of what I wanted to say and my message that I wanted to get across. And it just did it. And it just I probably would have had a 5,000 word book, and it turned it into a 50,000 word book. So that's the beauty of AI. So
Well, I'm at 84,000 on mine right now.
that's a good sized book.
Yeah,
I
then most of it's mine. Yeah, it's a little bit of stuff to go in and do some continuity, but most of it's mine. It's I like to write. It's you've read my stuff probably over the years. Yeah, I like to write. It's a good outlet. So I definitely appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like I said, it was more of an experiment for me to learn the publishing process and to learn more about how Amazon works and all of that. So I think I've got a
Yeah.
pretty good system down for that, and I've kind of put the offer out there. Anybody that's looking to get their story out there, I'd love to help them, and I've done that for a few people already, and it's again just amazing to see how fast it goes when you have that structure that AI can give you.
Yeah, my life would read like a fiction, so I'm not going to do that.
I, One of the books is funny enough is kind of like that. The Adventures of Lucky Lewis is my fiction book, and loosely based on my dad's naval career and my Air Force career, kind of combined together. Uh, Very Forrest Gump like story about one of the characters that he was in the Navy with that he always told me about as a child, and I always held on to it. So when I had the chance, I got it on paper. So,
Yeah, I've had some pretty interesting times and met some interesting people along the way. Um, so the your AI work, what's the biggest challenge you're seeing right now from because God, everybody's gacking on it, right? Like, oh, I'm afraid of AI or AI's taking over, or gosh, it's going to be the be all end all. We know it's somewhere in between. So,
I'm involved.
what's
I'm
your
involved
take?
with two nonprofits, the Texas Digital Learning Association and the United States Distance Learning Association, with Pat Casella, of course. There,
Yeah, yeah,
uh, I actually got called out. I won't name the college, but to a university that was in, I mean, literally revolution over this AI thing early on, and they pulled me in for a panel discussion, and I was the fifth person on the panel and the fifth person to speak. And the first four all talked about how evil AI was and how they needed to eliminate it and they couldn't use it in school. And when it got to me, it was a room probably of 500, 600 people, all very interested in this. And I just said, man, I think you guys are looking at this all wrong. I mean, I think when the abacus came out, it was probably chastised. And I know the calculator and the personal computer were all thought of as evil tools, but now they've all been adopted as tools, and they built curriculum around them. And you kind of felt the room turn, and people started to kind of feel what I was saying. And before you knew it, that the conversation shifted to exactly that. How can we build a curriculum, and how can we educate the students to use this as a tool and to use it better and to be aware of impersonation and all these things that AI can do? And it ended up being a really great session.
it kind of reminds me of when the automobile came out. I'm sure. Well, I'm old, but not that old. So I'm sure that the buggy whip manufacturers were just like freaking out, and there's a lot of like, oh, these things are going to be racing around, making all kinds of racket in our cities. We're going to have to, it's just going to be horrible. If they're breathing all that smoke and, then gosh, it's going to come over here and run me over. I think we're at the same phase with AI. I get very, very similar.
Great analogy, except for one thing. Most of those early cars were electric, and they
Yeah,
weren't.
that is true. That is true. Well,
It's
the
funny how we've come full circle in
Mercedes
that regard.
Benz, Mercedes Benz has the first gas one.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm a gas car guy. We were just talking earlier about car stuff, and I see the vets in the background. You got vets?
Corvettes, yeah, definitely a Corvette guy. Had a few myself, and my son has got a lot of the Asian influence, so he's really into this Japanese domestic market or JDM.
JDM?
So
Yeah.
yeah, so of late I got rid of my Mercedes AMG. I got rid of had a BMW X5, got rid of all that stuff, and now we got three Honda Civics, and my wife drives a Subaru. So we're
There you
all
go.
wrenching on Japanese cars now. So
And get a whole nother suit of tools.
yeah, yeah, you
At
definitely
least you didn't have, at least you didn't have British where you had to get rid of all your Whitworth stuff, right?
had to go get some more 10 millimeter sockets,
Yeah.
now.
Oh, I just wear one around my neck. But
Yeah,
I've got a Volkswagen, so it's 10 millimeter and 13 millimeter. Those are that's all I need. That and a pair of vice grips, baling wire, and some duct tape, and we're good to go.
absolutely. Yeah, I love Volkswagen products as well. I think there's some great stories there going all the way back to Ferdinand and the early days of the Bug and his son keeping the brand alive until he came back out and building the 356 Porsche and the 911 and the first one, and then when he came back and refining all of that. Great story. So you're
Yeah,
interested in.
it's fantastic engineering, and you know, the 911. It's such an iconic shape that I'm kind of glad that it's continued. But man, it'd be cool if they came up with some new stuff. They did the Panamera. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It it just didn't come off to me. It's a great car. It really is a good car. But I don't know. I don't know. It's
When my
obnoxious
children
looking.
were younger, I took my wife into buying a used Porsche 911, a 2007 model, because it had the small back seats and they could fit in there. And it only took them a couple of years to outgrow that. But so yeah, the gig was up. But
Yeah, dang it, dang it. Yeah, just start sawing them off at the knees, right?
right, right.
So let's see, what else is going on? What's in your background there? You got, looks like you have nice little liquor rack going. Okay.
Yeah, a little bourbon collection. I'm probably more of a collector than a drinker. I like the thrill of the hunt a little bit. So if I can get in that a little bit.
There
But
you go.
yeah, so there's a lot of bourbon these days that are allocated and they're really hard to get. And
Okay.
so you got to get to know the liquor store owners and kind of know. So um, I had about a 6 month gap of employment where I just decided to take a small sabbatical, and there was someone in Austin, Texas that was buying up all of the particular brand of bourbon called Weller they could get, and they were putting it in a container and shipping it to Japan. And I knew this person, and they said, "Hey, we'll pay double shelf price for any Weller product you can get." And I said, "Well, how much are you talking about?" They said, "As much as you can bring us." So I literally went on a tour of Texas. I filled up an SUV full of this Weller, bourbon, and I showed up there, and I think I overwhelmed them a little bit. They weren't expecting me to show up with 3,000 bottles of Weller, but double shelf price. So it was a good gig for a few months if you can get it. So.
They stuck to their word, right?
Yeah, they were a little surprised. They had to pull out a few more pallets and some more shrink wrap, but they got it done. And but they did tell me when I was leaving, you were way over the legal limit for how much bourbon you can transport over county lines in Texas. So
Well,
I wasn't aware of that. So
now the world is, John.
statute of limitations. I think we're good.
Well, there you go. Well, it was said. It was said. Um, yeah. So I see the motorcycle helmets. Into that too.
Dirt bike, street bike. I do the Texas Mile. I try to do that as often as I can. They take over an airstrip in
Yeah.
South Texas, and we go out and see how fast we can go in a standing miles. So that's always a lot of fun. My uncle still does it. He turned, I think, 91 this year. He does it in his Corvette every year. So
Oh, fun.
yeah, it's a good time. So
That'd be pretty
good.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, the only
I,
challenge to it is that right hand turn at the very end. If you don't make it, you're in the sticks. So
I it's at least it's it's softer. Not a wall. I was when I was in the Navy, way back in the day. I was stationed at Pensacola going through aircrew school, and a buddy got transferred out of school to San Diego. He had a Suzuki 1000 Turbo, back in the day, and he goes, "Man, if you got like 3 days, do you want to drive it out for me?"
oh
So
wow.
so he's out there in San Diego. I drove it from Pensacola to San Diego, and I think it was like 38 hours. Um, and I obeyed the speed limit the whole time.
Oh yeah,
I
of
was,
course.
yeah. I'm going through Texas is at night, out in way West Texas, and I'm zipping along. I'm sitting up. I got the throttle pretty cracked open. I'm right on the ass end of a 911 whale tail, so I'm like in the bubble, and had my headlight off, so I wasn't going to blind the guy in front of me. He knew I was there, and we were doing triple digits easy. And I looked over, just kind of glanced over to the side, and I saw a white door just flashed for a second. I went, oh shit! So backed off the throttle, got hit with a wall of wind, you know, turned on the headlight, slowed down to 55, which is the speed limit then. And I felt like I was pushing a skateboard at that point. And about 8 miles up the road, here's the Porsche's pulled over, and he's pointing at me as I drive by. Little wave,
Well,
how do you do?
you're hitting on one of my passions. I don't know how this will come off. We'll see how it comes off on camera here. I might start zooming and doing all kind of crazy stuff, but yeah, motorcycles are definitely that was my '84 900 Ninja that I had when I was in the
Oh, sweet.
military, and
Yeah.
then I got into the go fast track bike. So that was my Kawasaki ZX7RR, um, and I actually did some endurance racing when I got out of the military. Texas World Speedway at College Station. We used to and I raced with these two young kids that were like 8 and 9 or 10 years old. Their dad would drive them up from Kentucky, and they would race with us. And they were on little 250s, and we were on big bikes, and they would lap us. And it ended up being I don't know if you know Nikki or Tommy Hayden. Nikki
Yeah, I
Hayden,
heard the name, yeah. Yeah.
it was them, and yeah, it was just the craziest thing. But yeah, but yeah, cars and motorcycles are definitely something I'm really passionate about. At AVISPL, the division I'm in, XTG, we actually have a sim racing league, and every Wednesday night uh, we have 2 seasons in the year, and we sim race. So
Okay.
that's the latest thing. You can see the top of my steering wheel when I'm back there in the background. But we
It's cool, man.
yeah,
That's
we did
really
this,
cool.
and I'm not very good at it. I mean, I've done a lot of track racing, but it doesn't translate. And these
No,
guys
it
they know how to
feels
set up
great.
their
Yeah.
cars to the ride height and everything about them to get them the right amount of fuel and the aero package. And so I've got to do some research on that. I think they use AI to set those cars
Yeah,
up. And
I was going to say, you probably asked Lexi about this, couldn't you?
yeah, yeah.
That I did a similar, I'm a sailor, is my thing. Um, I, we sponsored, in Video 360, we sponsored, we threw some money at the American Magic, the America's Cup boat.
Yeah.
And during one of the Barcelona events, I got to go over and, the ISE coming up. Um, I got to go over to the American Magic compound.
Oh
And
wow.
it was so cool. Yeah, I mean, we're talking the bleeding edge of technology when it comes to sailing. Actually, when it comes to a lot of stuff, but really cool. And I got to do the simulator in the the American Magic. It's not the same as sailing.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
It's funny though, like the F1 guys, like Max Verstappen, and these guys will, by the time they show up to a track, they've already done
They
5,000 hours in a sim on it.
Yeah, but that's they're in a little different simulator. Actually, though, the simulator that American Magic had is that level of simulator. I'm just that shitty at it, so there you go.
When I was in the military, I'd augment duty. I ran two of the simulators we had for the B-52,
Okay?
and Charlie Pride would come in and do our annual state fair, and he always wanted some seat time in the simulators when he came out. So we'd always make arrangements for that. And he'd want the roughest weather, the ILS is everything is going haywire. He wanted the most challenging, and he was good. He was a really good pilot. So yeah, it was really interesting.
That'd be kind of fun. Yeah, I did the same thing in P3s in the Navy.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so I got to play around in the P3 simulators quite a bit. It
Nice.
was good times. So, anyway, so this is it's kind of running on here a little bit. Um, between the meetings, what do you think, John? Should we do it some more?
Yeah,
Should I do some more of these? Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I think this is a great thing. I think it gives people a chance to know people a little bit other than their LinkedIn post or
yeah,
uh, to hear about them. So find out what people are passionate about, what they do with their free time, and what they're going to be doing in the future. I think it's a great plan.
yeah. We can talk about heavy stuff if you want, but basically, when you're going from meeting to meeting, you don't. So,
Yeah, it's and just that concept. You say meeting to meeting.
yeah,
My favorite time in a customer meeting is right when it ends.
yeah,
And
right.
that walk out of the room, that walk out of the building, that walk to the parking lot. And a lot of times you'll be in an hour-long meeting and it was stuffy and not a lot got done. But in that 5 minutes between when you get up from the table and you get to the parking lot, you can usually find out more about the project, about the goals, about the person than you ever would in the meeting. And that's probably it prompted me to think about that when we talked about between the meeting. But it's absolutely my favorite time when I visit a customer is right after the meeting.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was trying to get along here. If you know anybody else who wants to be on here, have them reach out to me. I'll do it between the meeting with anybody, even people not as cool as you.
Thanks, Dan. I really enjoyed it.
All right. Talk to you later, John.
See
See
ya.
ya.